All right, let's get started. Welcome to the EE 2007 for the summer session. So my name is Zhizhe Ma, or just call me Aaron. Okay, so Aaron is my English name. I will be your JTA for this semester, and we will have, I think, 7 UTA. Since we have 7 UTA, I will not let them introduce themselves. So for the UTAs, please maybe type in your name and the email address in the chat, so the students can know who is UTA. All right, so we will meet every Tuesday and Thursday at 1:15 to I think 4:15. If you're on campus and you want to meet in person, you can come to the Porter 262. So I made a typo in the email. I think some people go to the another Porter. Or you can just join my WebEx room. Yeah, either one works. Okay. But I strongly recommend you attend the meeting so you can know what's going on. But if you some students may work at daytime, I will also record the meeting every time and upload maybe on YouTube and share the link with you guys. All right. Let's go to the syllabus first. All right. So 1.1 course objectives. So for this class, you will learn how to build the real circuit. Okay, so I think some of you already took the EE201, so you learn some theory in that class. Then in this class, you will prove the theory in the real circuit. Can you mute yourself? All right. Yeah, and also you will do some simulation in some circuit simulation software. All right. And 1.2 recurrent material. So is anyone there can mute? Yeah. All right. So you should already receive email about the recurrent material. You should have a lab kit. So if you plan to take a further ECE class, you should buy the master kit. If this class will be your only ECE class, you can buy the mini kit. And also you need buy the DMM. Under the 82, I think most of you may receive the 82, or some of you may not receive yet. So the 82 is we borrow the 82 to you. You should return it at end of semester. So please don't break it and don't lose it. Okay. And then 1.4 course schedule. So for the summer session, it's like twice fast than the normal semester. So each week we will have 2 labs. So for example, this week, the Lab1 will be today, then the Lab2 will be Thursday. Okay, so it's pretty fast. And so since this is the first lab, you don't have pre-lab. Start from second lab, you will have pre-lab. Okay, so please finish the pre-lab before start of the class. Okay, so before Thursday 1:15, you should submit your pre-lab. Yeah, and then for each lab, you have a write-up. I will show you where you can find the template and the guideline for how to write the write-up. Okay, and then for the fifth lab, okay, so you will have a like a larger lab which you need to finish a report. And for the number six, you have lab practical, so it's like a small exam. We will talk about the details when it comes to that week. And also for there is a final project, which you will need to write a report. Before we need to demo the final project, but since because of the COVID, we will just do the report. Okay, so that's for the schedule. And also, so if you go to the assignment, you can see the deadline for the each homework. Okay, so for example, for the pre-lab, you need to submit before the second lab. For first lab, you need to second before the Thursday. And for the write-up, it's still at the day of next lab. So for example, the lab 1, the write-up will due at June 17th, which is this Thursday, end of the day. Okay. For lab 2, you have more times. It will be due at 22nd, which is next Tuesday, end of the day. So which is just due the day of next lab. And if you submit the write-up late, it will be 10% or 20% deduction every day after the deadline. All right. Let's see what's next. Okay, and also back to the assignments. There is a notebook. Okay, so for the here is the submit link for notebook. So for the notebook, we are not going to grade it, but you should finish it and submit it still. It's just a reference of your write-up. You need to record your data during the experiment and maybe put the plot in the notebook, okay? So it's just a reference for you and let you know you need to take a note in the experiment. All right, let's see. Right up. And here is a short instruction tell you how to write the write-up and the report. Okay. And also remember there's an actual credit. Okay, so actual. So if you check week 1, there's a link for actual credit. Okay, so there is a software you can download here, and you need to finish the module 1 and put your name on the. So after you finish the module 1, there is a screen that you can take a screenshot, and you need to put your username on that. I will send out an email like how you can take a screenshot. And remember the deadline for the actual credit is June 22nd, end of the day. Okay, still next Tuesday. There is no extension for the actual credit. All right. So here is the grade breakdown for the class. I think rest half take most of the percentage, half of the percentage. Okay. And yeah, and for the regrades, okay, so me and other UT will taking care of the grading. If you have question of your grading, you can ask. And if you want to regrade your assignment, you need to ask after 24 hours after we send out the grading and within 7 days. Okay, so for example, you receive your write up 1 grade this, let's say today, end of the day, you can ask regrade after tomorrow, before next Tuesday. Okay, so that's the period you can ask to regrade. Cheating. Obviously, there is no cheating allowed in this class. All the data, all the plot in your write-up should be done get by yourself. Okay, so you can ask questions and you can discuss with other students, but you cannot directly copy the work from other students. Okay, so let's see. So here, the number 3, cost expectations. That's an important point. So there are a couple things you need to do before you attend the class. Okay, so first of all, you need to read through the lab manual. Okay, so those information are very helpful. And also, after you read the lab manual, you should able to finish the pre-lab. Okay, so remember, finish the pre-lab and submit it before next lab. Okay, you can write down the question on a paper and take a photo. All right, so after you read the lab manual and after you attend the class, at the beginning of the class, I will spend like 10 or 20 minutes to talk about what's going on today's lab and what's the tips you should know for the class, for the experiment. And then you will spend like most of the time to do the experiment. So if you read through the manual before the class, you should already know what will be on the lab, on the experiment, and then you can directly start. And if you have questions, you can ask me and other UTAs. Helpfully, you can finish the experiment within the lab time, I think about 3 hours. Okay, so after the class, so during the experiment, you should record the data in the experiment. And after class, you will need to finish the write-up or report based on the data you get from the experiment. All right. Attendance. So I can understand some of you may have work during the daytime. So I will make a recording as I mentioned, but I still strongly recommend you to attend the class. And also we will have office hour. The schedule is not, I think it's not done yet, but I will post the schedule for the office hour later. Safety, and since you are using AD2, so the risk of danger is reduced a lot, but still you need to follow the instruction. Okay, so as long as you follow the instruction, you should be fine. Okay, let's see. All right, I think that's all for the syllabus. Any questions for the syllabus? Okay, right, no questions. Before I talk about the first lab, there are a couple of things I want to mention. So if you go to the Brightspace, as I share here, there are some tutorial or documents you need to read through. Okay, so first of all, the breadboard. Okay, so some of you may already receive the kit, so you should know the breadboard if something looks like this, and you need to watch this video to know how to use the breadboard. Okay, and then see under experiment 1, there is a link for DMM. Okay, so if you click on this, there is like a 10-minute introduction for the how to use DMM. Okay, the DMM is what you use to measure you can measure resistance, you can measure voltage, you can measure current. Okay, let's see, and then in here there is a template for Lab1 right up. So you can follow this template for Lab1. Okay, so we only provide the template for first lab. Then you should have like do something similar in your future write-up. Okay, so this is Lab1, and then it's in the email I sent out. So for today's lab, you will use LT specs. Okay, so here is a quick introduction video for the LT specs. I sent out this in the email. So if any of you didn't get this email, just let me know. And also, I sent out the link for the resistor labeling code, and also the capacitor labeling. So read through this document to know how to check the resistor value according to its color. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's all the things you need to watch through before before you do the experiment. And also one more thing is for each lab there is a briefing. So that's done by another GTA. I think this one is a little bit longer than what I will be talk about, but he include much more details. So if you interested in, you can also watch this video. All right. All right. Any questions? Okay, no questions. Let's directly go to today's task. Okay, never mind. Before go to today's task, let's talk about the manual really quick. Okay, so remember before each lab, please read through this manual. Okay, before lab 2, you should read through the manual for lab 2, experiment 2. Okay, I'm not going to talk all the things in here, but I will mention some important points in here. Okay, so first of all, Ohm's law. Okay, so as you know, this is a very important equation. V equals to I times R. So voltage equal to current times resistance. So I think you should remember this equation since you are taking this class. And another equation is the power equation. Okay, so the power dissipated is equal to voltage times current. And by plugging the Ohm's law, there are different formats for this power equation. Okay, so you don't have to remember the power equation, but you need to know voltage, current, and resistance. As long as you know 2 of the variable, you can calculate the power. Okay. So yeah, that's all I want to mention in the menu. Okay, so let's go to the tasks. Okay, so you can find the tasks in the experiment 1. If you click on the AD2 modified tasks, you should have this document. Okay. So for today, you have 3 tasks. Okay, so first one, you will use the DMM measure the voltage. The second one and third one, you will use the LT specs, which is a circuit simulation software. You will build some circuit in the software and do some simulation. Okay, let's talk about the first one. Okay, so first one, task one, question one, you will use a DC supply from the AD2 and measure the voltage from the AD2. Okay, so let's quickly talk about the AD2 right now. So if you already received your AD2, it should be something looks like this. Okay, and remember you need to download the waveform, which is a software working with the AD2. Okay, I think I may miss this. So also you need to read through the AD2, watch through the AD2 tutorial before you start doing the experiment. Okay, so after you have your AD2, at the bottom of the AD2, you have some pins, okay? The pin, this is a pin layout, okay? So the picture looks like this. For this class, most of the time you will use the left part, okay? So for today's lab, you will only use the power supply. So if you say the V plus and the V minus, that's your power supply, which provides DC power, okay? So next week, we will do some AC power. That's from W1 and W2. So waveform generator, that's provide AC signal. But for today's lab, you will only need DC signal, which comes from V plus, which provide positive voltage, and the V minus, which provide negative voltage. And here is the ground pin, okay. All right. Okay, so maybe let me open that waveform. I can show you. So I don't have the AD2 connected, so I will just use demo mode. For those of you who have AD2, you can connect the AD2 to your laptop. And if you check the left part, there is some menu function menu. So if you click on the supplies, so that's the function control the DC power. Okay, so you can input whatever you want in here, but the maximum is 5 volt. Okay, here maximum is 5 volt. Okay, so in task 1, you will provide a positive 3 volt, so which comes from this V plus pin. Okay, and if you check the negative 3, you will also need to provide a negative 3 volt, which comes from this V minus pin. Okay, you need to measure them separately. Okay, so after you turn on your waveform, and you need to use your DMM to measure the voltage. Okay, so remember you need to watch through the tutorial for DMM. Let's see. Okay, so here is the tutorial for DMM. Okay, so there are 4 pins in DMM. It's common, COM is always connect to ground. Okay, so when you measure the voltage, current, anything, this thing, never mind about current, but for voltage, you will connect this pin to the ground pin. Okay, so ground pin is this black pin in your AD2. And then, for example, when you measure the voltage, you will use this pin. Okay, so this pin measure the voltage, measure the resistance. Maybe I think that's all you need to know for this class. Okay, and this 2 pins measure the current. We will talk about this in next lab. For this week, for today, you will only need to measure the voltage. So you need to connect this pin to the voltage supply, which comes from the V plus. Okay, so when you have positive 3 volt, you will use V plus. And if when you measure negative 3 volt, you will connect the the pin here to the negative power supply, which is V minus. Okay, so that's how you measure the voltage. So yeah, we can work on this after I talk about all the tasks. Okay. So that's for the question 1. So after you know how to measure voltage, everything should be, the things after this should be not too hard. For question number 2, you will measure the 7-volt DC. As I mentioned, for AD2, the maximum voltage comes from AD2 is 5 volt. Okay, so you need to think about how to measure how to create 7 volt. Okay, because the voltage is the difference. Okay, if you have a voltage 3 at one point, voltage 5 at another point, when you do the measurement, the voltage is 2. Okay, remember, voltage is always the difference. So you need to think about how to create 7 volt in your DMM. Okay, and then question 3 is simple. You need to create a 4.122 DC, and then you need to adjust your DMM to show for a 4.122 in your DMM. Question 3 you just apply Ohm's law to calculate the current. And the question 5, you need to draw a circuit diagram. Okay, so let's see in the menu. So here in the menu, it tell you what's the symbol. So this symbol, you see there is a letter A in a circle. That's ammeter. Okay, so this thing is used to measure the current. Okay, so this symbol, letter V in a circle, that's voltmeter. This device is using for measure voltage. Okay, so if you see page number 10, this diagram is a circuit model for the ammeter, but it also shows how to measure the voltage and the current. Okay, when you measure the current, the current, the ammeter should always in series with what you want to measure. When you measure voltage, the voltmeter should be always in parallel with what you want to measure. Okay, so I will talk about details in next lab, which you will need to measure the current. Okay, let's back to the experiment. Okay, so that's all for question 1. Task 1. Any question for task 1? Okay. Then let's talk about the task 2 and task 3. Task 2 and task 3, they are very similar. Okay, so you just build the circuit diagram like this. And remember, in your write-up, you cannot, you need to include the circuit diagram, and you cannot directly copy the circuit diagram from the lab menu. After you build the circuit in the LT space, you need to take a screenshot by yourself. Take a screenshot from your work. Okay, so you should, after you watch the tutorial, you should able to build the circuit pretty quick. And I think some of you may using Mac. So the system, since the system is different, the LT space work a little bit different. I will send out another tutorial for Mac system. Okay. And remember, don't forget the ground pin. Okay, so after you build the circuit in here, you can apply the voltage to your voltage source and apply any resistance to your resistor, and then you run the DC simulation. Okay, DC OP, operating point. Okay, then you can measure, you can have the voltage and current. Okay, so yeah, remember, just watch through the LT space tutorial before start these tasks. Okay, so you build this circuit, and then you run this. And if you check question number 5 in task 2, you will need to adjust the DC supply voltage. So you manually change the voltage at here. Okay. And I think you at least need to swipe maybe 10 points. And then you record the data for the voltage and the current, which you can get from the simulation. Okay, so this will be your current, this will be your voltage. Okay, so for example, if I change this to 1 volt, the result will be different. Okay, so the current will be 0.1 amp. Okay, so remember the unit, this is 1 volt and this is 0.1 amp. All right. So after you, and also this, remember the template is provided on the Brightspace. So you can just follow the write-up template and fill out the data in the table. And after you sweep all the point, you will plot the IV curve. So which is the current versus voltage plot. So usually when we plot the IV curve, we put voltage at x-axis. We put current as y-axis. Okay. And remember, when you do the plot for your write-up, don't forget to put a title, and don't forget to put the label for your y and the x-axis, and also the unit. Okay, so the voltage, you need to put the voltage unit. The current, you need to put your current unit. Whatever amp or milliamp you're using, you need to put the unit. And then you will able to find out the resistance value according to this array plot. Okay. Then the task 3 is very similar with task 2. Instead of sweeping the DC voltage, you will sweep the resistance. Okay, and you will do the similar thing. Okay. All right, I think that's all for today's lab. You will. I think you will have questions when you start doing the lab. You can just ask me and you did. Yeah.
Forms won't detect lighting to laptop.
Okay, I will hear those. Yeah, I will check this. Yeah. Any questions? Or any questions for online students?
Where's the schedule for office hours?
Oh yeah. Let's see. You can find the office hour schedule on the. Let me share my screen. So if you click the start here, there's a office hour schedule. I think we didn't post the office hour yet. We need to. I think we will finish this before this week. I will send out the email once we post all the office hour.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other? Let me see. Any other questions? Okay, yeah. If you have any question during the experiment, you can keep asking in the chat. We will try to answer you.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
I think my 82 is not gonna arrive before the deadline for Lab 1.
1 second. Okay. Let's see.
Do you guys have a screwdriver?
Yeah. Let me check. Give me 1 second. Yeah. How many of you didn't get 82 yet? If you haven't got your 82, maybe type 1 in the chat.
looks like like when they shipped out his 82, did not come with a charger or the USB port.
Okay.
Do we have one?
Yeah, I think we have some. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Maybe we can. Okay. Seems like some of you didn't get 82. Try to finish the LT spec part. And I will ask Ryan, who is our cost coordinator. Maybe I will extend the deadline for the write-up to say, if you can receive the 82 maybe tomorrow, maybe I will extend the deadline for the write-up one to sometime in this weekend. Okay. So try to finish the LT specs part first. We will see what's going on shipment.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay. So I think the slides in which we have to use for the first slide. So that's why I said
All these spikes is like